Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to be talking about how you can craft your offerings to reduce the time to first dollar. By that, I mean, from the moment somebody enters, a lead enters your pipeline as a prospect, a qualified prospect, till the time you get some money out of them, whatever that first dollar is, right? And how do we try and reduce that? Very important in this post-COVID era, very important in potentially the bad economy we're facing, right? So next slide, please. I realize I can't hit page down on my my keyboard. Doesn't do any good here. All right, so for most professional service firms, they have this problem. Their time to first dollar is too long. And that's generally because many of you have a single, all-inclusive, very important service that's presented as a binary choice. I'm going to use wealth managers as sort of a working example in my part of this talk. And, hire me as a wealth manager or don't hire me is effectively the choice, that you're presenting to the market. However, because many of the services we all provide are really important and consequential, saving retirement, defending my company in a life or death lawsuit, and so on, prospects are generally not in a rush, right? They want to kick the tires, they want to spend a lot of time with you, make sure you're trustworthy, make sure you're smart, and so on, because this is a really critical decision. The net result is they sit in your pipeline forever, right? Next slide, please. So a lot of the things that were talked about in the earlier portions of the presentation can help you reduce the time to first dollar, particularly the targeting and reaching prospects. And the idea is you want to target and reach when they have the most need for you, when they have a really big problem that's really important to them, okay? These are prospects I call your fastest prospects, the fastest to close, right? And so as an example here, using traditional sort of marketing tactic like SEO or social media. So you're a wealth manager, and when you kind of do this sort of fastest prospect analysis, you realize one category of people who are really your low-hanging fruit would be people who just inherited some money, right? And so if you wrote a blog post, what to do and not do with an inheritance, that topic itself is effectively their targeting. In other words, people who have this problem are going to click this content. And if I didn't inherit anything, I would never click this sort of thing. So when it comes to a lot of content marketing, when it comes to SEO, picking the topic is effectively the targeting. Okay. Back to the point about reducing time to first dollar, though, is you could imagine people who are reading this content probably have that problem. I just inherited some money. I need somebody, a trusted person, to help me with that. So that's a really good example of trying to target and reach your fastest prospects. Another example in social media, there's a Facebook group called Family and Inheritance Law, right? Again, civilian members of that group are probably people who are struggling with this sort of an issue. So your participation in that forum is an ability to target and reach your fastest prospects as wealth manager. Next one, please. More fundamental, more strategic approaches to reducing time to first dollar would be to reevaluate your services. This is actually a kind of marketing that is not as well known as some of the other kinds. It's called product marketing. So product marketing are the internal folks who are the bridge between you and your customers. They're marketing people who really understand your clients, your prospects, your industry, your competitive position, and they work with you to develop your services or your products to meet those needs. They are so the champion internal for the client, and they try to deliver services that meet market needs and business needs. So in the realm of product marketing, you can reevaluate your services. We talked earlier about shifting your focus, shift to where your firm's value is needed most. That's another way of saying fastest prospects, right? So one thing you can do when you do this shift, perhaps there are new services you can offer that are relevant to that shift that you just implemented. Another possibility is you could unbundle your single all-inclusive service. And the idea here is you want to lower the barrier to entry, and you want to make becoming your client easier. Next slide, please. We don't have time to go through all the details in this graphic, but the idea is you can unbundle your services. You can create tiered offerings, you can make parallel offerings. There are different ways to approach this. But the idea is you want to create this sort of natural upgrade path. So as you see in the left end of that graphic, the more to less, at the top of that spectrum, they're more expensive, they require more commitment, and therefore they stay in your pipeline. At the bottom of that spectrum, they're less expensive, less of a commitment, and therefore they spend less time. So that good level, that bottom level, is really the entry level. So going back to our wealth manager example, every wealth manager I know, the very first thing they do is they do a financial plan. So what if you took financial planning, took it out of this all-inclusive service, and made it a standalone service that you can offer to people? You can put a price tag on it. You think about that. When you're doing a financial plan, forget about the whole pre-sales. How do I encourage trust and show I'm smart? You're going to be doing a plan for these people. You're going to have lots of face time, lots of opportunity to show how brilliant you are, right? And at the end of that process, when you present the plan to them, if they've liked you and think you're smart, who do you think they're going to turn to implement the plan, right? That's an example of what I mean by the natural upgrade path, right? Just by simply taking out something you would have done anyway, making a separate product or service. It's certainly true that nobody's going to click a Google ad and hire a wealth manager. But I can tell you, because we've done it, people will click a Google ad and hire somebody to do a financial plan. So one of the other nice sort of side effects of this is that the things you sort of carve out as standalone, some of those might be more amenable to traditional lead generation techniques, like online advertising, for example. So that's another potential accelerator. You can get into the market much quicker. And last points here, you get bonus points if that good entry-level offering is a fixed price thing. Again, what you're trying to do in a lot of these calculations is you want to remove barriers to entry. You want to make it easier and quicker to adopt. Next slide, please. So my takeaways, you want to focus and target and reach your fastest prospects. And I'm defining fastest here as those who most need you when they most need you. So timing is really important. Reaching them at the right moment is very important. You potentially can develop new services specifically for your fastest prospects if you don't have something amenable, or potentially you can unbundle your all-inclusive service to create natural upgrade paths, right? And again, the key here is you want to make the entry point services for the prospects less risky and require less commitment and dollars. Thank you.